everyone. I hope you are enjoying your long weekend as much as I am. I know it's a long weekend in both Canada and the United States, so wherever you're watching and maybe overseas, hopefully you are enjoying the long weekend as much as I am. I've got a brand new 2018 Ford F-150 to tow my brand new trailer, and I am out in Merritt for the long weekend. It's a little on the windy side, you can probably hear, but the sun's been out and I've really been enjoying myself. It is very windy out there, so this is a little bit better of a setup for sure. I thought this would be a really great opportunity to answer some questions you guys have had about my job as an automotive journalist. One of the first questions I had was, how did I get such a great job? And a lot of it was luck, some of it was skill, and I basically auditioned for driving television. I've done some acting and I fucking love cars. So when my agent said that they were looking for a host for driving television, it seemed like an obvious fit for me. That was about 10 or 11 years ago, and I have had a really amazing time doing driving television. I am a member of AJAC, which is the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada. This is the organization that all journalists in Canada are a part of to be able to access manufacturers' press releases and things that are designed specifically for the press. I also write for wheels.ca. I've done some stuff with Auto Trader, but for the most part, I get a different vehicle every week. I don't get to just call up the manufacturers and say, hey, can I have a Porsche for the weekend? I have specific vehicles that need to be reviewed for the TV show, or for example, with wheels.ca, one of the big things in the industry right now is the electrification of the automobile. So electric cars, hybrids, you name it, are really popular right now. These are the types of vehicles that people like you want to know about. So I will call the manufacturer and see what vehicles they actually have available in their press fleet for me to book a test drive with to be able to give a review. Not all vehicles are in the manufacturer's press fleets. For the most part, it is new, brand new vehicles and or completely redesigned vehicles. They have a specific fleet that is press test vehicles. So I also don't get to select a trim or a color, anything like that. I believe most manufacturers in their press fleets are including vehicles that are going to be the volume seller for that particular brand. Somebody asked me specifically about the trucks and the towing that I'm going to be doing. I had to make special requests for the manufacturers to get into some of the trucks to make sure that it was okay with them that I do actually hook my trailer up and do some towing. And obviously, like I mentioned, there are only specific trim levels available for certain vehicles. So even a perfect example was the Nissan, or sorry, not the Nissan, the Infiniti QX80. Obviously the premium brand to the Nissan Armada, but they didn't have the electronic brake controller. So unfortunately, as much as it would have been a great vehicle to tow my trailer, it's something the manufacturer didn't have that in their vehicle for me to do that review. 52 cars a year, a different vehicle every Monday. I don't know if in different cities they have different schedules, but here in the Greater Vancouver area for the press vehicles, we do our car swaps on Mondays. The manufacturers have their cars, the press cars, managed differently. So for example, Honda, BMW, Volkswagen, the people managing their press vehicles are directly working for those companies. Some of the other manufacturers, for example, like Nissan, Mazda, they're done through a third-party company, for example, that might have a automotive detailing location. So we pick up the vehicles from those companies and they're spotless and ready to go to look great for photos and videos. The other option that I have as an automotive journalist, and these are invites only, I get invited sometimes to go on what's called a press trip. It makes a lot more sense financially and and whatnot for a manufacturer to invite all the journalists to one location to test drive some of the new vehicles. A perfect example was last year I got invited to the press release of the new Jeep Wrangler. They invited all of the journalists from Canada for a week and all the journalists from the United States for I think a little bit longer than a week, and gave us 2 or 3 days to drive the vehicle. Well, what they'd actually done was set up an off-road course for the journalists to go and really experience what the Jeep was like. Now for me, I've done some simple basic off-roading. They had us paired with a professional driver. So we got the opportunity to sit as a passenger while the professional driver drove over some of the rocks and maneuvered in some of the crazy terrain. And then we actually got to switch. So I had a chance to sit behind the wheel and use some of the different features of the Jeep with the professional driver sitting beside me to help me learn not just about the product and the Jeep and that vehicle, but also about off-roading. So these events are a really great learning experience. As well, the automotive industry is always changing. So it's a great idea for these events when there's new technology that's coming out, for example. The manufacturers are able to sit with us one-on-one and explain to us some of the small details that might be taking place in those vehicles so that we can learn, so that when we're giving our reviews, we have the correct, accurate information and we've used it firsthand. Another big question I get all the time is, what kind of car do I drive? I don't. I'm in a different car every week. That's 52 cars in a year, plus press trips. I'm driving over 60 vehicles in a year. I live in Vancouver. It's expensive, so it made no point to me to get a second vehicle and pay for parking, pay for gas, those kinds of things. So I don't have a car. I'm responsible for paying, well, the journalists, not just me, automotive journalists are responsible for paying our own gas and any parking tickets, tolls, those kinds of things, which is pretty given. But I don't have insurance, the basic car insurance to pay for, or car payments, so I'm pretty lucky in that avenue. I think that's really about it. At least those are the main questions people have been asking. If you guys aren't already following me on Instagram, I'm laceylee.elliott. Find me on Facebook. I'm rebranding. I'll still be me, Lacey Lee Elliott, but I'm rebranding as the All Points Road Trip. And this is a really great way for me to encompass the things in my life: travel, road trips, automotive, health and fitness, and just adventure. So you'll be seeing that switch happen slowly over the next few weeks and months. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment here publicly. You might not be the only person with that question. Reach out on social media, and I hope everyone, like I said, enjoyed the weekend as much as I did. I don't know if you can see, the sun has come out here, but it is still really windy. I'm gonna work on my tan and just enjoy the last little bit of summer that we have. Have a really great day, you guys, and we'll be back next Monday.